my name is Allie Schmidt. This is my dad, Dan. He owns Caitlin's Glass.
Thanks, Allie. Things like doors and windows go into making a house. But when it's your home, you expect more, like the great service and selection you'll get from Caitlin's Glass. Vinyl replacement windows from Caitlin's come with a lifetime warranty, including accidental glass breakage replacement. Also ask for custom shower doors and many other products and services. Call 962-1636. Locally owned with local employees for nearly 30 years.
Caitlin's Glass, the clear choice.
Welcome to the BeTempered Podcast, where we explore the art of finding balance in a chaotic world.
Join us as we delve into insightful conversations, practical tips, and inspiring stories to help you navigate life's ups and downs with grace and resilience.
We're your hosts, Dan Schmidt and
Ben Spahr.
Let's embark on a journey to live our best lives.
This is BeTempered.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the BeTempered Podcast, episode number
43.
43. You said that confidently.
I did.
Every week it's like, is Ben right or is he wrong?
I don't know.
You had one mess up and we won't let you...
Won't let me live it down, so now I want to go 43-ish. Somewhere around 43.
Oh, that's good. Well, today we have an amazing woman here with us today, Miss Becky Morin. She has lived an amazing life. She's done some amazing things. She's been through some challenges that she'll discuss, and I am excited that she accepted the invitation to come on the BeTempered Podcast. So, Becky, welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're excited to have you, excited for you to share your story. I know you've got some family out there that may have pushed you a little bit to come on here. So, you know, we have maybe a sister or two to thank.
Just a few.
So we appreciate that. But Becky, how we start every episode is by learning your story from childhood growing up. So if you would, start there.
Okay. Well, I'm a child of 9. My parents is John and Eleanor Hake. They were from Eaton area, lived a few other places. Mercer County was where my mother was from, and I think
we have a connection there. Yeah, for my wife. Yeah,
yes.
Yes.
So anyway, yeah, I won't go into their whole story because their story is pretty amazing. But anyway, yeah, so we grew up in Eaton and Lewisburg area. My father, he was a contractor, and so he bought homes, and so we moved multiple times. You know, he would sell the house, and he was like, okay, we got to move, so he built another house similar to that house. Yeah. And so we always had something to go into. Sometimes we lived in a small home with like 3 bedrooms with 9 children.
Oh, wow.
So they would turn the porch into a bedroom, and
okay.
You know, we lived there for maybe 3 months until they got the other house built. So. And then my mother, she was a realtor. Okay. So she did real estate, probably 40, 50 years. So nine
siblings, 9 children total.
9 children.
What was it like being in a house with 9 other kids? So 11 total in the family.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was always busy. We were, we didn't have many toys. We, did the chores. The brothers, they had to do the outside chores, and then we did the inside chores of laundry, dishes, and then we'd have to go help Dad with the home. We would clean the houses out before they would, sweep them. We'd fill nail holes. We would do whatever we could, wash the windows, prep the homes for them to sell. So
cheap labor.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first childhood labor.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. So growing up was busy, right?
No, always busy.
Always something to do.
We were in some sports. I was in swim team, diving, but we had to get up and tend to the garden before we could go to the swimming pool. So it was fun, but we always worked together on it.
Did you graduate from Eaton?
I did.
Okay.
Yes.
So you graduate from Eaton High School.
Mm-hmm.
Got all your siblings. What's next for you after high school?
I went to Wright State for about 2 years. I actually met my husband before I went to school, Wright State. And so we dated a little bit during school, and then he asked me to marry him, and I left college and got married, and we moved to Cincinnati for a period of time.
Okay. What was down in Cincinnati?
His work.
Okay.
He worked for AT&T, so the big phone company.
Yeah, yeah. So you're young, you're married, you're living in Cincinnati. family?
Yes. So about 11 months later, we had our first child, Sarah, and then we were still in Cincinnati, and then we moved to Kentucky when she was probably 6 months old. And then we had another child, John, about a year and a half apart.
Okay.
So we lived there for about 4 years. And then we moved back to Eaton. I was driving home probably 3 times a week, visiting my family.
Okay.
So he got a transfer to Eaton.
To move back home.
Not actually Eaton, but he was still worked in Cincinnati for a long time. Then he went to Dayton and just moved around a little bit.
So that family pull brought you back. So you were 9 kids. You were tight. I mean, you had a very close relationship with your family.
Yeah.
If you're living in Cincinnati and you're driving home 2 or 3 days a week,
correct,
there's a pull there. Right?
Yes,
and a loving family for sure. Mm-hmm. So you moved back home, and how'd that feel?
It was good. We had a house that Mom found for us in town. We rented it from my parents for about 9 months. Then we ended up buying it from them. It was an older duplex, and we rehabbed that. So we were always in the construction, so we did a lot of rehab on the home.
Well, you had those skills, right?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, and if we didn't, we would ask Dad or my brother Ken.
Yeah.
So we always had someone to help us.
Yeah, that's great. And that the Hake family name, that was construction. I mean, if you had a Hake home, that's a good home. So you definitely learned some valuable lessons from your father and mother for sure. So you're in Eaton, you're raising a young family, life's moving on. How's things going?
It was going good. So I was working at juvenile court with Judge Dews for a period of time, actually about 10 years worked with him. And then towards the end of that time, about 8 years in, he was wanting to build a youth facility. So I helped him on that along with everyone else in the courthouse, or not courthouse, but in the juvenile court. And we would find different places that we thought we could do it. And we would do activities at the pool, at the fairgrounds. And then finally, the YMCA came to Bill Dews and met with him and said that he would like to partner. So then that took about probably another 18 months where we were working on fundraising and designing the building. And so I was involved with, the designing, construction.
That's awesome.
And then fundraising.
Well, and you kind of said that all kind of quick, but I want people to recognize, especially for those that may not be from our area, from Preble County, Ohio, small community. Correct. Rural community. Mm-hmm. Never really had anything like the YMCA. No. It was a big opportunity and a big undertaking for the community. And you did a lot to bring the Y, along with Judge Dews, to Preble County. Every morning, and in fact, last week, my son Ryan and I are going in the morning of the Y, and he said, "Dad, who are you interviewing next week for the podcast?" And I said, "Well, Becky." "Well, who's Becky?" I said, "When we walk into the Y, guess what? When you walk in the vestibule, on the right-hand side is a plaque of Judge Dews. On the left-hand side is a plaque of Becky." So you did a lot.
They surprised me with that.
Yeah, but it took that leadership. We just did a podcast with Maddie Ledgerwood on leadership, and 2 leaders, Judge Dews, Becky Morin. You guys made that happen because there was some pushback.
Oh, definitely.
And how did you overcome that pushback? Because that's a big deal to bring that facility, because it's not just the Y, it was so much more.
The fundraising was very hard at first because there was a philanthropist that came into the community many years ago, and he actually ran away with all the money that was raised to build a facility. And so people were pushing back. They said, no, they're not going to donate to a cause because they don't know who the philanthropist is.
How do you overcome that?
Well, we had many meetings. We would take them into I think we went to the country club a few times, and different small places where we could meet with them. And the John Pruse. He was the philanthropist that came in, and he was from Chicago. And he's actually done a lot of work in the community since then with Parker Hannafin and Henny Penny. So he would, work with those companies, and they trusted him. And so he was a great person. He actually had some connections to the community. So that helped.
I didn't realize prior to that there was a philanthropist that raised the money and then left.
I did not know that either until
you were in the middle
we were
of
in
it.
the middle of it. Yeah.
Wow.
And it was quite a bit of money back then.
Okay. You talk about a challenge.
Yes.
To try to convince an individual or a business or many individuals to give to make this come to fruition, because it was a big need in our community.
Oh, definitely.
And you and Judge Dew's leadership was able to make that happen. So talk about the construction process. It happens, the building's built. Talk about the grand opening. That had to be a pretty memorable time.
Yes, it was. It was February 2nd, 2002, I believe.
Yeah.
And we opened it up, and there was hundreds of people. And it was on a Sunday, and just filled the facility. And so, we had the staff. I pretty much had to help hire the staff, because the people that they brought in, Josh Sollenberger, he was there at the beginning, and he didn't know anyone in the community. So they wanted to have, the leadership of the community there. And so I helped hire the people, helped hire the board. And,
Wow.
It was a busy time.
Took the bull by the horns.
Yeah.
And so probably for the first year, I worked every day for 17, 18 hours. I'd go in the morning, make sure everything was opened right, stay till closing. And then it was finally had the staff that they knew what they were doing, felt comfortable with that. So I was able to step back a little bit.
And that goes back to you being raised with your family, right? You had to do the work. You had to help to build the houses, to clean the houses, to do whatever it took to do the laundry for 11 people in a house. I know there's 7 people in my house, and I feel like that's all my wife does is laundry. So I can only imagine adding those additional numbers with laundry. So you learn those valuable lessons growing up. And then you transition to helping raise the funds to build this amazing facility that we have in Preble County, Ohio. That's now been, what you said, 04, so 20 some years later, here it is, with some additions that have happened to it, the growth with the medical center. It's a beautiful facility. It's an important facility for our community. And to hear that you spent that much time, 17 hours a day for 7 days a week for however many years to help to get that off the ground and to be comfortable, that is amazing.
Yeah, thanks. It was fun.
It's a testament to you.
I always try to make things fun.
Yeah, and you did, because I was involved there, teaching some classes, and I'd see you in the mornings, and then if I was there in the evening, I'd see you in the evenings. Like, does this woman ever go home? But it made a big impact on me. So I appreciate your leadership and appreciate all you did, and Judge Dew's, for bringing that facility to Preble County. So at the same time, not only are you doing that, but you're still raising a family, right?
Yeah.
Life's still going on.
Kids were getting bigger. They were, in junior high school at the time. So they were able to cook a little bit for themselves. And my husband, he stepped up and did a lot of cooking, or, went out and got dinner somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. So then as things are progressing and life's progressing, there's some challenges that happen. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So, I guess it's about 15 years ago, my mother, she died of cancer. And then my brother died of cancer. And then my dad died of cancer, all within about a two-year period. And so I was researching a little bit on cancer programs, and I come across this program called Livestrong at the YMCA. And I went to the president and vice president of the YMCA Greater Dayton. And I told him, I says, I'm not going to ask you to do this program. I'm telling you, we're going to do it. And I said, I'm not taking no for an answer. It's going to take time and money. And so he agreed. which I wasn't going to let him die. But anyway, it was about an 18-month program that we had to go to Chicago about every 3 months. And so Josh Sollenberger and then Heather Macy and myself, we would go to Chicago for 2 or 3 days at a time. And we had to do, the homework and study and get that going. And so our first class that we had to do, we had to interview cancer survivors. And so, we just got to pick someone, and it was mainly people that were part of our YMCA membership. And so I had interviewed a lady, her name was Delane McIntyre, and so she was telling me her story and, how she found out that she had the cancer. And so she had multiple myeloma, and she broke her ribs when she was making her bed. And so she thought, that's not right. And so she made the bed many days and then it just happened. So they took her in, and it took a while to figure out what it was. And so anyway, she was, had gone in and had infusions and blood fusions and everything, and went through a lot of cancer treatments up at Ohio State. And then probably about 2 years later, I broke my rib opening up the car door for my grandson at the Y. And I thought, this is not right. And the first thing that came in my mind was Delane McIntyre. And I'm not a hypochondriac or anything like that. I just thought, this just doesn't feel right. So I, went to the doctor. I have a brother-in-law that's a doctor, actually a few of them. And so I went to Dr. Mark, and he, did x-rays and, did some blood work, couldn't find anything that, would have caused me to break my rib. And then all of a sudden my shoulder collarbone froze up, and I couldn't move my arm. I thought, okay, something's really going on. So he, put me through multiple tests, and he just, still couldn't find anything out. And then went to my other brother-in-law, Joe DeSico, and he was going to give me a shot in the collarbone to give me some movement in my arm. And he was like, I'm just going to do one more x-ray. And he did the x-ray, and he was like, you have cancer. And so I had the same type of cancer that Delane had. So I had a good connection with her, still great friends with her today. But, that time, my husband, Doug, he was in Canada fishing, and so I could not tell anyone. So he was like, I'm calling your sister, Julie, his wife. So we went out. I spent the night with them, and just cried and did all the normal things that you do when you find out you have cancer. So they got me hooked up with a oncologist over in Dayton, Dr. Lavelle, and then he was like, I want you to go to the best. I'm going to send you to Ohio State. So he sent me to Ohio State, and I saw Dr. Efabera, which, great doctor. She's no longer with Ohio State, but she is still practicing. So then, first time I met with her, Doug and my sister Julie went up to Ohio State, and we were going through all the blood work and more tests, and she was going through a study that I could be in. And it was kind of a, you don't know if you're going to have the actual meds or if you're going to have the placebo. And so I was like, I was a little nervous about that. I said, but she was like, the study is to help people, find out, if the medication works. And so luckily I was on the stem that was the actual medication.
Okay.
So, and I said, first thing I said to her, I said, when am I going to be over it? I got things I got to do. And I just, I'm not one to sit around, but it did wear me out. But I just felt that other people went through things much worse. There's so many people that have gone through some hard things. So I was just ready to get on and get moving and get over it.
Now, that's amazing. Can you talk about when the conversation came up and he told you, you've got cancer. What's that initial feeling like?
Oh, I just was numb. He was, my brother-in-law, he was numb. He actually was banging his head against the wall, sitting in the chair. He did not want to tell me. And so it was just, we sat in the office for a little bit, and I didn't cry until my sister came.
Yeah.
So it's just like, and I couldn't tell anyone that I had cancer. I couldn't tell my kids because my husband was in Canada, wasn't reachable, and he was there for 2 weeks. He had just gone. Oh. And so I just kind of hid in my house and just not talk to anyone. And then finally I had one person that came over, and actually my brother Ken, and he was like, "You're not answering your phone. You're not, what's going on?" And so I just burst into tears and told him, and he stayed at the house. We watched TV for probably 4 or 5 hours, just went through a whole season of a show.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I can't imagine the feeling because, you said you lost your mom and your dad and your brother all in a short period of time with cancer. You use that experience to force the Y to bring in the Livestrong program, mm-hmm. where you heard the story from Deline, sorry. And probably multiple other stories along that way.
Oh, definitely.
To lead you to the journey that you that nobody ever wants to hear, but I don't know how many people hear every day that they have cancer. And then and then your husband's away for 2 weeks on a fishing trip in Canada. Mm-hmm. And you've got to kind of hold all that in. And that's a challenging spot. Did you ever ask, why me?
No, I did not. I just felt, the chances of me getting cancer was fairly high with, our family history of cancer. My mom was colon cancer, and many of her brothers had colon cancer. So that's kind of what I figured I would have. It was colon cancer.
Yeah.
But never did I think that I would have multiple myeloma, which is a blood cancer. So
yeah, and you get through. So you go in and you have this treatment, and it works, right?
Yes, and it's not curable. They say it's similar to diabetes. It's something that you had to treat every single day. So I'm still on a chemo pill, take 2 every day, and I will for life, or until the chemo or the cancer comes back. And majority of the time, most people, the cancer has come back, and you just got to deal with it. And they have many other medication programs out there that they're learning to heal people with.
So again, all these people out there in this world who are told they have cancer on a daily basis, trying to navigate what that looks like and what the next steps are. And here you are where you're going to be fighting this battle for the rest of your life. What advice do you give to those people who may be in a similar situation where they're told they have cancer? What advice do you have to give to those people, to try to get them through the initial shock of understanding the diagnosis they've been given?
I'd say mainly just stay positive. Don't think of it as a life sentence. Most people could get through cancer now. There's many treatments available. So just do the research, eat healthy, exercise, just take care of yourself, and then have fun.
That's right. That's right. So you get through that. What's next in life?
Well, I continued working at the Y. I was still there and continued with the Livestrong program, continued with my daily activities. And then COVID came. Mm-hmm. And so my risk of getting sick is very high. So I was working from home. I worked from home for about 9 months. And they finally told me, they said, you either have to come back. They never said or, but yeah, they said, you need to come back. And I was like, My husband, he just retired in March of 2020, which was planned. And then, come June, I decided that I was going to retire. Wasn't old enough, but it was like I just wanted to take care of myself, take care of my family, and just enjoy life a little bit more.
Yeah. So you retire, your husband's retired. What keeps you busy?
Gardening. And my kids and grandchildren.
Yeah.
And I actually have a great-granddaughter. She's 4 years old.
Okay.
So she's probably the love of my life right now.
Yeah.
And I don't get to see her as often as I used to. I used to babysit her about 3 or 4 days a week. Now I'm down to once every 2 weeks. So It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard, but it's important to have those relationships with those grandchildren. Yes. As you were talking about your cancer diagnosis, my dad was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 2012. And I remember when he told me, it's a shock, right? Because the C word is nothing anybody ever wants to hear, but it's so prevalent in our society today, and there's so many different forms of cancer, and some you have better options to get through and others you don't. And, people are dying daily of it, and it's trying to figure out why, what causes it. And, we know certain things cause different things, but a lot of times it can be a family history. Right. And so those are things people worry about. But in 2012, when Dad was diagnosed with prostate cancer, I'll never forget, we were at a Y event. They were doing the triathlon at Lockhengrin, at Lake Lockhengrin, and he did it. He had not went through. He'd just been given the diagnosis, and they were putting a plan of attack in place of what to do with his prostate and all those things. And I'll never forget, we got done with that event, and Dad sitting there and just saying, "I've got cancer inside of me." It just seems so weird that here I am, running and biking and doing all these things, but there's this disease inside of my body that I have to get out, and I don't know what's to come. Right. And I think that's probably the scariest thing that anybody's given in a cancer diagnosis is, one, when you think of cancer, you think of death, right? Which is everybody's fear. But somehow, some way, you're given that diagnosis, and you make the determination that other people have it worse than me.
Yeah. And, you see people that don't have limbs. You see people that are blind, or, just so many issues, massive heart attacks that, put them in the grave, or, somewhere in between, not being able to walk. It's just, I always feel that, I've been blessed, and I don't have it as hard as many people.
That's an amazing perspective on life, for sure. You're an amazing woman. You're a servant leader. You've done the amazing things with bringing the Y and then continuing it on. And here it's still going today, I think, just as strong as it's ever been. What's it like for you to step back and to look at the Y and to see its growth and to see what it's done for the community, knowing that you were part of that in the beginning?
I think, the leadership there, Heather Garcia is now the executive director, and I think she's going to be an excellent leader there. She's very friendly. She's, out with the members, and she'll do a great job. And I think, the staff that they have there, people go there for a reason to get healthy, give them something to do, just see their friends.
Yeah.
That's one place that they could go in and they could meet with their friends and have coffee with them, the older people, and then the younger kids, they go in and play basketball.
Yeah.
And then just learning how to swim,
And I think that's one thing that makes the Y in any community unique to just a regular gym is, you have that sense of community. It's not just, a bunch of big guys in there working out, trying to push a bunch of weight. There's, ranging from youth to, 90-year-olds in there doing whatever. And some of them just go in and have coffee just to have that conversation and have that fellowship. I think that's one thing that makes the Y unique and a little different from other just gyms and communities.
I can remember a gentleman coming in there, and he would just walk the track, and he would come in because we'd say hello to him.
Yeah.
You know, he said, no one ever says hello wherever we go.
Yeah.
No one ever says hello, and you're all friendly.
And that's what life's all about, right? It's all about making those connections with people, and because we talk about it every week. I think everybody's got a story, everybody's got challenges they face, whether it's cancer, whether it's the loss of a limb, whatever it may be, and just to make those connections and to talk to people, right? That's what's important.
Correct.
And I think
Definitely.
I think that's what makes the Y unique. So let me ask you, what motivates you now at this stage of your life with everything you've been through? What motivates you to get out of bed in the morning?
Oh, I have a long list of things that I do on a daily basis, and just, I got to check those off.
Yeah.
So my gardening, I stay busy with it pretty much year round, whether it's, planning for the what I'm going to plant, buying more seeds or bulbs or plants or whatever. My husband always tells me to slow down. But I just keep putting more plastic tarp on the grass and killing off a little grass so I could add some more flower beds.
Let's make it bigger and bigger and bigger.
Less to mow.
That's right. You're doing him a favor.
And here we are. We're in February, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're still in the winter months in Ohio and in Indiana, and but we're getting ready for the spring, that planting season, right?
Yes, definitely.
Which I can tell.
Just like the
excites you.
farming.
That's right. Yes, it's coming whether we're ready or we're not. What do you value most in your relationship with others?
Well, I would say just true friendship, communication, being a trustworthy person.
Yeah.
So,
If you could have a conversation with one person, living or deceased, who would it be and why?
I'd say right now, try not to cry, would be my grandson. He was my oldest grandson, and he was killed in a motorcycle wreck almost 2 years ago. And he went on a, little trip with my husband, and they did a genealogy trip. And my grandson, Peyton, he did not want to do it. And when he came back, he said it was the best trip he's ever done. Learning about his family history. And so he went, as soon as he got home, he jumped on his bike and he was going to go see his uncle to tell him about it and go visit some of his friends. And he never came home that night. So
That's a challenge.
it's very hard.
A major challenge in your life and your family's life, especially after all that you had been through. But the loss of a child, the loss of a grandson, a granddaughter, whatever it may be, I think it's my number one fear in life, right?
Definitely.
You can handle cancer, you can handle different adversities that come, but when a tragic event happens like that, it kind of makes the world stop.
Definitely.
How do you keep going from that?
His daughter,
Yeah, that's your,
my great-granddaughter.
yeah.
So, like I said, she is my life. We get together. I just stop everything that I'm doing and just do whatever she wants.
Devote your time to her.
Yes.
Yeah, that's amazing. Becky, you're an amazing woman. You have done some amazing things, and you've been through some very, very difficult times that a lot of people won't face, but you do it with a positive attitude. You're an inspiration to many. I want you to think about any quotes, any Bible verses, any closing thoughts you might have to someone out there who's listening, who may have lost a child, may have been given a diagnosis of cancer, may just have had a rough day and lost their job. Do you have any advice for those people out there?
Well, I would say, just live life to the fullest. You never know what's going to happen. Just don't regret not doing something. Just, and tell them that you love them. That's the main thing. Just let them know that you love them.
because you never know when it's going to be over for all of us.
Just want to make sure that they know it.
Yeah. That's amazing advice. You're an amazing woman. This has went really quick because as most people who are servant leaders in their families and in their lives, they gloss over all those things very quickly, right? And I hope that everyone who listens to this recognizes that, as quickly as you talked about the cancer and your family and your grandson and all those things that you've been through in life, that you are an amazing woman. You're an amazing leader. I'm thankful that I got to be a part of some of your leadership at the Y when I was there.
Yes.
Working with the Move to Lose program and teaching the bike classes and doing all those fun things and helping to try to inspire a lot of the women in the Move to Lose program. I don't know that I had any men. I think they were all women at 5 a.m.
Yes.
But with your guidance and your leadership, you've changed many lives. And I hope that you recognize that, and I hope that you take a step back and look at that, and are proud of what you've done, what you've been able to accomplish for your family, but also for our community.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Ben, you got anything to add?
No, I go to the Y all the time. I still have a Purple Edge membership, but I go to the Y because it's kind of the same thing, right? And I've been to multiple different Ys. I go and play basketball in the mornings with. There's no Y like the Preble Y. When you talk about being like greeted and everything, most of those people know your name when you walk in. It's not just hey, how you doing? It's,
yes.
Hey, Becky, how are you doing today? How's, something you may have said yesterday that reminds them that they listened, they understood. And that's a culture thing that we talked about, in our last episode. And, your plaques in there, like you helped build that. I just can't imagine how proud you must be every time you walk back in there and know, like, I helped build this culture.
Anything to add for your sisters?
They're next.
Oh, that's great. Becky, appreciate you taking the time to come over here and do this. I know a lot of people, when they come in here, they have some anxiety.
Yes.
And a little bit apprehensive, but I appreciate you sharing your story, because there's no doubt there's someone out there, like I said, dealing with something that will be impacted by your message. And so we appreciate that.
All right.
You did amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, everybody, please like and share and subscribe and do all those things. I know everybody in their family has someone who's dealt with cancer, or a friend, if not in your family. So be sure to share Becky's message and go out and be tempered.
Hi, my name is Allie Schmidt. This is my dad, Dan. He owns Caitlin's Glass.
Thanks, Allie. Things like doors and windows go into making a house. But when it's your home, you expect more, like the great service and selection you'll get from Caitlin's Glass. Vinyl replacement windows from Caitlin's come with a lifetime warranty, including accidental glass breakage replacement. Also ask for custom shower doors and many other products and services. Call 962-1636, locally owned with local employees for nearly 30 years.
Caitlin's Glass, the clear choice.